is this really it? Is this really what life is all about? It's supposed to be this difficult? It's supposed to be so annoying? Is this how life is truly supposed to be? You're supposed to be miserable, stressed out about money for the rest of your life, watching all these other people having their dreams come true, and deep down inside you're thinking to yourself, can I ever be like that person? Am I really that terrible? Am I really that horrible at what I do? Is that really, really what it is?
Maybe perhaps you're very successful in business, but you had no time to spend with your family. Maybe you were working 2 jobs. One of my mentors told me a long time ago, he said, Andy, 2 jobs are for 2 people. And so maybe perhaps your struggle or your challenge is you weren't making enough money. And so you're looking for something that gives you greater fulfillment.
And I hope when you're watching this message, you realize whatever point you are in your life, you're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as great as you think you are. But you have so many abilities that no one will ever find out, because so often people give up.
You know what? I could use some more time and freedom. You know what? I could use some additional income. You know what? I would love to have more fulfillment in the things that I'm doing. The name of my book is called Show Up for Your Life. But you know, the person who inspired the book was actually my mom. She came from Haiti with less than $150 to her name. My mom was working in the hotels as a maid. One of my mom's second jobs is she worked in a purse factory. My mom stood on her feet for 8 hours a day. It was a job that a lot of people didn't want. And after 22 years of being here in this country, going from opportunity to opportunity, my mom finally found her golden opportunity. She saw a freestanding building and she said that would be a perfect place for me to open up my restaurant. Most overnight success takes 15 years. Make the decision that you're gonna be here for the long term. And then she opens up her restaurant. She's in her second year. She's actually starting to have a profit. And one Saturday, she's at home, and out of nowhere, she gets a knock on the door. The gentleman on the other end, he hands my mom these legal documents. And then she realizes that the property is going to foreclosure. And so she picks up the phone and she calls them up. Hello? Yes, I received the papers in the mail. It says that the property is going to foreclosure. Every month I pay the landlord on time. I don't understand why the property is going to foreclosure. Even though you've been paying the landlord money every single month on time, the landlord has a mortgage. Because of that, the bank has the right to foreclose. And so my mom asked her, maybe I can go to the foreclosure sale. I will pay them the rent. Please, do you think that they will let me stay? She said, ma'am, it's not even worth you showing up. And so my mom was devastated. I got all my life savings into this property. I know that sometimes you don't just have to listen to what people tell you. They're gonna tell you don't even show up. But my mom said, at a minimum, I'm gonna at least try to show up. Sometimes people are gonna try to talk you out of your dream. And you gotta look them right in the eye and say, hey, I'm just gonna keep showing up. And so 2 weeks later, my mom shows up to the foreclosure sale. But to her surprise, there's only 2 people there. The auctioneer steps up to the podium and says, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start the bidding process. If you're here to bid on the property, please raise your hand. She raises her hand. My mom, who had no intentions on bidding on the property, my mom decided to take an act of faith and raise her hand. Martin Luther King said that faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the entire staircase. The representative from the bank is standing here, says 30,000. My mom goes, 35,000. This goes on and on. Now they're in the 40s, now they're in the 70s. My mom's still in the game, no money, 75,000. I don't have any money anyway. And so my mom, attitude and all, my mom goes, 76,500. He goes, 76,500 going once? No answer. He goes, 76,500 sold to who? My mom. And then she's like, wait a second, I actually have to have the money? And so my mom would go home. She'd pull out a notepad and she'd start writing down the names of all of her friends and all of her family members. Some would lend her 1,000, some would lend her 2,000. And she's 3 days away and she's still $30,000 short. And my mom's thinking, maybe this isn't meant to be. And then her telephone rings. And it's her friend Yvonne's. My mom says, I have 3 days. I still need $30,000. Yvonne said, no, Marie, listen. Me and my husband, we've been saving up money to buy a house. Right now, we've saved up $30,000. We talked about it, and we want to lend you the $30,000. And so my mom said, thank you. She would get back in the car, drive up to Palm Beach. My mom would proudly take that cashier's check and slide it through the little hole. My mom went from being the tenant to being the landlord because she was willing to show up. There are going to be times that you're going to be wondering, why should I keep showing up and working my business? Why should I keep showing up to the conventions? Why should I keep fighting for my goals and fighting for my dreams? You got to show up for your life regardless of the circumstances. You got to show up in spite of the conversation going on in your mind. You got to show up for your life, because if you don't, nobody else will.
And I'm saying to you, what if all of us took that attitude after we face a rejection and a no, or we have a meeting and no one shows up? Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again, but you're still looking at your dream and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
It's very easy to find a reason to quit. The easiest thing to find is to find a reason to quit. I hear so many people that say things like, I asked God for a sign and I saw a poster and it said this and I took it as it's time for me to quit. No. What that means is the only things your lenses are looking for, they're looking for signs for you to quit. You've already quit. Because if you constantly look for reasons to quit, you're going to find millions of reasons to quit and give up on anything you're doing. When you quit, you send a message to the world that you never really thought you were going to make in the first place. Believe it or not, some people will be glad when you give up. This is a very strange thing, because most people don't understand, why would a friend or a cousin want me to give up? Well, let me explain to you why that is. You got 5 friends. 5 friends all come from the same community. Everyone's the same. Well, everybody's kind of living an average life, and everyone's making somewhere between $30,000 to $60,000 a year. And all of a sudden, that person starts, who was a person, nobody expected that person to do anything big with their lives. Contributing all over the world, they're being, recognition, all this other stuff. So the other person is still content at 60, 70, 80, and they're not really happy that this person's not making 600. You really think they're glad about this? It's a law. You know what laws I don't fight with? This is called the law of gravity, law of reciprocity. There's a law where there are people in your life that don't want to see you leave the comfort zone, that makes them feel like they could have done the same as well, but they didn't, and you don't necessarily make them look good. It's part of the game. Number 4, I want you to visualize this. You're 82 years old. You've been in the hospital for a month, and you're in your bed, and there are many quiet moments with yourself. I don't know what you're going to be thinking about. The moments with people you love the most, wife, kids. But I'm sure there's going to be a quiet moment as well when you're going to say, man, did I give everything with this 8 years that I had? Did I use my talents? Did I really make a difference? Did I really make an impact the way I could have? You're watching this, you're 22, you're thinking you'll never be 80. You think you got plenty of time to go. But the reality is, like this, we're 80. Time is flying like you wouldn't believe. Do you really want to have the life to look back and say, what would have happened if I would have given everything I had? The consequences of giving up are quite a lot higher than sticking it out. Man, I would rather go home and watch the game tonight. I don't really want to work today. This is too much. Honestly, this life, money's really not that important. I'm better off going getting a job from 9 to 5 and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to go for the whole thing. You don't see the consequences, but then later on, diapers are expensive, marriage is expensive, mortgage is expensive. So the consequences of you giving up is by far bigger than you sticking it out and actually making it happen for yourself. 6, quitting is a very simple habit. You do it once, you'll do it again. By the way, fighting through and winning is also a habit. There's a reason why they say that guy's a fighter. Anything worthwhile takes sacrifice and time. Anything. Having a nice six-pack takes a while. Growing your business takes sacrifice. 90% of the things entrepreneurs do who win big, no one ever sees. No one sees what time you get up. No one sees what time you go to sleep. No one sees how many books you read. But the same goes for the people that don't make it. No one sees that you're not working. No one sees that you're sitting home watching TV. No one sees that you're not really working that hard. No one sees that. Only you see that. But there's a key. Time, sacrifice, and effort. There's a patience that goes with that. Every single time I thought about giving up and I stuck it out, the next month something big happened in my career. And when I tell you it's literally around the corner, it's literally around the corner. And you know when? Right after you're about to give up. It's just the way it is. 9, the process shapes you before it rewards you. Look, money can be lost and can be made. You can have the nice house one, you can lose a nice house the next day. But who you become in the process of gaining the house and the business and all this other stuff, that stays for a lifetime. So who you become in the process is by far more valuable than all the valuables you'll ever make.
Set a goal that'll make you stretch that far for what it will make of you to achieve it. And here's why. The greatest value in life is not what you get. The greatest value in life is what you become.